all students will repay only as they can afford to.
Say no to tuition fees.
It is right that once students become graduates, they make a greater contribution.
Not a single penny will leave their bank account until after they've left university.
So we now have one of the most expensive systems of university tuition in the world.
There are problems in the system.
And why don't we talk about student loans?
In the 90s, there was a big push for half of young people to go to university, but in order to have that many people going to university, the funding model needed to change. Tuition fees were first introduced at £1,000 a year, and they came with a student loan known as Plan 1. Plan 1 had lower interest rates, and you repaid 9% of your earnings above the threshold once you graduated. The debt upon graduation was much lower, so most Plan 1 graduates were able to clear their debt entirely within about 10 years, but in 2012, the coalition raised tuition fees to £9,000 a year. Alongside this rise in tuition fees, they introduced a new plan type called Plan 2. Plan 2 ran for students who attended university between 2012 and 2023. These graduates repay 9% of everything they earn above the threshold of £28,470, and its interest rate is based on the retail prices index plus up to 3%. This means that the more you earn, the more interest is added to your loan, and the highest amount of interest that some graduates are seeing is 6.2%. Because of this, their loans are increasing much faster than any repayments that they're able to make. In November 2025, Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced in her autumn budget that she would be freezing the repayment threshold for Plan 2 student loans. This effectively works like a fiscal drag. It means that graduates are going to be repaying more sooner. This will particularly hit lowest earning graduates who will be repaying about £300 more a year by the end of the freeze in 2030. The Sunday Times investigated how this would affect graduates, and we looked into the punitive terms of these loans and what they're doing to the aspirations of millions of young people. We found that £15.2 billion of interest was added to these loans last year, while only £5.2 billion was repaid. This is because you have to be earning at least £66,000 before your repayments are greater than the interest being added to your loan, if you have the average loan of about £53,000, which is what most people graduate with. Because of this, 2/3 of graduates are making repayments which can be hundreds of pounds every single month, only to see the total amount of their debt grow. Many from this cohort are now in their early 30s, trying to reach financial goals such as getting on the housing ladder, starting a family, and progressing in their career. When these loans were sold, a key part of their protection was that they wouldn't affect your credit rating and therefore your ability to apply for a mortgage. But losing hundreds of pounds every single month affects your affordability, meaning that you can't afford to get a house that you might have if you didn't have a student loan. After our investigation, the Sunday Times launched a campaign to end the graduate rip-off. We're calling for the repayment threshold freeze to be undone, for interest rates to be reformed, and for there to be a cap on the total amount of interest that graduates can repay on their loan. Since our campaign, politicians have been paying attention to the issue. The Conservative Party came out with a plan saying they would remove the 3 percentage points of interest which are added to these loans. The Liberal Democrats have said that they would forgive the student loans of key public workers such as policemen and nurses. Labour have said that they're going to look at these loans, but they have defended the freeze on the threshold as fair and proportionate. Rachel Reeves said that it was important in order to bring down NHS waiting lists, but many graduates are bemused by this, as they took out the loan to pay for their education, not the NHS. The government are yet to present any real solutions to this, and the situation could be set to get worse. Those who graduate this year will be under the new Plan 5 terms, which see repayments start at the lower threshold of £25,000, and their loans aren't wiped out for 40 years instead of 30. All these factors together mean that UK students have the highest debt upon graduation out of any European country. But the government's defence is that graduates go on to earn more, therefore they should contribute more. This is a generation of people who feel trapped out of the housing market, facing stagnating wages and soaring childcare costs. 9% more tax is just an additional burden that they feel is an unfair intergenerational issue, and they're calling for the government to make a change.